It's been more than 60 years since one of the world's worst medical disasters, thousands of lives destroyed and forever changing how we regulate drugs in Australia. Today, the government owned up to the part it played in the tragedy.
We put on this brave face, and we've done it all our lives, but it's getting really hard to put on that brave face.
A lifetime of pain, social isolation, bullying, harassment and medical neglect.
Our story hasn't been told properly. A lot of people still don't know our story.
Today, the Prime Minister delivered a national apology to Australians impacted by thalidomide.
We are more sorry than we can say. We are sorry for the harm and the hurt and the hardship you have endured.
For survivors, it's been decades of struggle.
I went to claim the disability pension. I wasn't disabled enough, so it was a 2-year battle. And then every year after that, I had to go back into Centrelink to prove that my arms hadn't grown.
We are sorry for the battle you have had to fight over decades for fair support and due recognition.
Thalidomide was touted as a wonder drug for pregnant women in the 50s and 60s, an over-the-counter pill mostly taken for morning sickness. But while it did treat nausea, the drug had devastating consequences. Thalidomide caused birth defects in more than 10,000 babies. 40% of those affected died within a year of birth.
The fact that even after the grave dangers of this drug were known, importing thalidomide was not prohibited. Selling it was not banned.
There are 146 known thalidomide survivors in Australia, many born with short or missing limbs, malformed organs and nerve damage. Some are deaf and blind.
You know, it's a damn shame that the governments around the world had various royal commissions into dangerous drugs and cures from 1907. And nothing was done until 1963 after the event.
Today's apology extended to their parents, who were left to struggle alone.
I know that my mum lived with the grief of my disability to her dying day.
While survivors welcome the recognition of their suffering, they say it's well overdue and should only be the beginning.
This has been a long and arduous battle, and one that I certainly didn't believe that would be left for me to fight. It's not just about us as survivors, and it's those that didn't survive, and it's those that are still unrecognised. There's still a long way to go.
Trish Jackson was there for the apology and is a thalidomide survivor you saw in that story. Trish, how did it feel finally to be there to hear that apology?
Hi, Waleed. It was a bit surreal. I didn't know what to expect. And I have to say I'm really happy that it beat my expectations. I didn't think I was going to cry, and I was really strong. I'm not going to cry, I'm not going to cry. And then the Prime Minister started using some of my quotes and I just lost it. It's been a long time coming, but thank goodness it's here and we heard it.
Trish, what made you so emotional? I mean, obviously the Prime Minister using some of your quotes, but what did you feel? Was it a sense of relief, of being validated?
I think it's just like every day is just my life. And then, like when the Senate inquiry came in and I had to put a submission in, I wrote my life on a paper and I looked at it and I thought, oh, wow, you know, it's just something that I live with and I don't really think about. But when you put it on paper when the Prime Minister starts talking about it, you go, wow, it's really real, and that's what my life is like.
So, Trish, can you give us a sense of what your life is like then because of thalidomide?
Oh, it affects every minute of every day of my life. I don't get a holiday from it. Like, I live in constant pain because I use my feet for everything. So, and I have to contort my body, you know, a million times a day just to turn a light switch on or pick up a drink or pick up my phone or whatever like that. And so our bodies are just worn out. We're tired. Like I can do something in the morning, like do a little bit of painting, and then that's it. I have to go and lie down for the rest of the day because my body just can't cope.
We can only imagine. And Trish, we know that you really wished that your parents could have been at the apology today. Why would that have meant so much to them?
They're both 96. They're both too frail to travel to Canberra. But, you know, Mum lives with horrific guilt for taking that tablet, and to watch her, what she's suffered is really heartbreaking. You know, it's not her fault, and it doesn't matter how many times I tell her it's not your fault. It doesn't make any difference. She'll carry that guilt till her last breath. But I hope that this just gives her a little bit of peace before she goes.
It's just heartbreaking hearing you talk about the guilt your mum carries and the fact there's nothing you can do to get rid of that guilt. Doesn't
Nothing
matter
will ease that pain.
Tell us about your relationship with your mum.
We are very, very close, very similar. She's just the most amazing woman in this world. She just did everything for me. She made all my clothes. She carried me around until I was 7, and then, you know, she would sit with me in hospitals, and she would sneak up lamb chops into the hospital because she knew that I would eat them. And I can remember she would, you know, go home after visiting me at 3 o'clock, and then she'd go home and cook up some lamb chops, and then she'd put them in a handbag and drive back up to the hospital, and she'd bring her handbag in and she'd sit beside me on the bed and she goes, "Quickly, eat them, Trish, before the matron comes back and we'll get into trouble." She's just my everything.
It shows how profound the relationship is, despite, or perhaps even because of everything you've had to go through. And I think it also shows that deep down we're all the same. We all hate hospital food. Yes.
Exactly.
Trish, we know days like today don't solve everything, but it's a landmark nonetheless. And on a day like this, it's an honour to get to speak to someone such as yourself. So we really appreciate your time.
That's all right. Thank you.